Welcome to part 2 of ClickBank's affiliate training. In part 1, we talked about how to choose your niche, and in this part we're going to talk about the next step, which is building your platform. So first off, let's just cover what is a platform, because it may be a new concept to a lot of people out there. But basically, just a platform is a home base for establishing your authority and building an audience. So basically it's a site or a channel where you can start to share your thoughts and ideas, interact with people, and have people come to listen to you and to see what you have to say. And there are several different options for how you can build a platform, which we'll talk about in just a minute. But basically it's just a place where you can get your thoughts out there and start to build a reputation and send people so that they can get more information from you. So let's talk about why you need a platform as opposed to just trying to build an affiliate business based purely off of niche websites or doing free traffic or things like that. And there are 3 really good reasons for why you want to build a platform. One of them is to have control of your brand and of your business. If you rely completely on third-party sources for getting traffic and for sending affiliate promotions, those can be taken away from you at any minute. So you may be sending traffic through Twitter or YouTube or something like that, but if they decide to change their terms of service, or if a service decides to go out of business, then you could lose all of the business and momentum that you've built. So you don't want to rely completely on third parties. You want to have your own website or own kind of home base where people can come back and find you so that no one can take that away. It's just a much better long-term play and long-term business strategy than relying entirely on outside parties. The second is trust and reputation. If you have a home base where people can come and find you and it looks reputable, and you have content and you've given people a reason why they should view you as an authority and an expert, then they're going to trust you and trust your recommendations a lot more. They're more likely to click your affiliate links or take your referrals seriously and actually check out the product and buy. And then finally, it's really the easiest path to success. Selling through your own platform or as an affiliate, pre-selling, it's going to be so much easier than trying to get people to click on your links and buy if they don't have a reason to trust you, don't have a reason to view you as an expert, and you're trying to just interrupt their attention and grab their attention for a second. It's going to be much better if they're already looking to you as a resource and they see you as reputable. So there are a bunch of different kinds of platforms that you can build. The first one is building your own blog on WordPress, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, but basically on your own self-hosted WordPress. So having your own website. You could do it building a platform on Facebook, on a fan page or something like that. You can have a YouTube channel, and that's a great way to build an audience. Obviously these are third-party options, but they can be used to complement your main platform, which we'll talk about in a second. Twitter is a good option. The purple square you see there is the icon for podcasts, so you can build a great platform through podcasting. Or you could potentially build a forum and build a platform that way. What we recommend is to take a blog and make that the centerpiece of your platform. So you always want to have your own website, like I talked about earlier, to send people back to. And there are several other good reasons for that, which we'll cover in a little bit. But the best way really is to build multiple platforms and multiple different channels and let them support each other. So if you have a blog, link to Facebook, link to your YouTube channel. If you have a YouTube channel, send people back to your website. So make them support each other. Don't just pick one. Now, one note I want to make about that is you don't have to do all of these, and in fact, I wouldn't recommend doing all of these for most people until you've really started building out and you have plenty of bandwidth to work on them. You'd be better off building a blog and then maybe picking 1 or 2 of these extra platform channels to build off of. So have a blog and a YouTube channel, or have a blog and a Facebook fan page where people can come and find you and interact with you, rather than trying to do all of them and not dedicating the proper amount of time and resources to any of them. So now we're going to talk about 4 key steps in platform building. So the first one is to create a brand. When you're building your platform, you really want to put some thought into what type of brand it's going to be and how you're going to present it to people. So one option is a personal brand. So some examples are Gary Vaynerchuk, who's huge in the social media and entrepreneurism space, Seth Godin, who's a really famous marketer, and Jillian Michaels, who's a very famous health and fitness person. She's a personal trainer. The other side of things is creating a business brand. So some examples would be something like dealseekingmom.com, Fit Sugar, which is a health site, or Social Media Examiner, which is a social media site. So it's basically, do you want your name on it, or do you want it to be more of a, sort of anonymous company? And there are advantages to both. Obviously, if you're putting your name on it, it makes you very trustworthy, and you can put your own personality into it a lot, be very likable, and people will kind of know who you are. The disadvantage to that is that you would have a hard time ever selling off the brand or kind of removing yourself from it. It's very much tied to you, so you need to make sure that it's something you want to stick with long term, because otherwise, without you, the brand won't really function. With business brands, it's much easier to sell those off or to bring in other people to help you with them, like guest authors or things like that. But it doesn't have a face to it necessarily, so it can be a little bit harder to build it up and become likable and trustworthy and things if you're not putting your own face and name on it. So think about that when you're deciding how to create your brand. Also think about things like, what style of brand do you want? Is it going to be fun? Is it going to be serious and business-like? Are you going to position yourself as the expert? Or are you going to position yourself as somebody who's investigating and learning about a topic and sharing what you learn as you go? So there are a lot of different directions you could go with the brand. The second step to building your platform is to get a domain name and to get web hosting. You are going to want to host your own website. Don't rely on a free third-party platform like WordPress.com or Blogger.com or someone like that. You're going to want to get your own. So buy a domain name. It costs about $10 a year, but it's absolutely worth it to have your own domain. It makes you so much more trustworthy, and people will listen to you and take you a lot more seriously if you have your own domain. So when you're thinking about your domain, there are a few different ways you could go again. Do you want to do something that's sort of brandable and unique? So that would be a term like Google or Yahoo that doesn't really mean anything. You could go personal. So if you're doing a personal brand, you can certainly use your own name as the domain name. Or do you want to try to go descriptive and build a brand and a website around the topic? And there are advantages again to each. To brandable, it makes you really unique. You can try to make your brand into something that people are going to remember the name of, and you can be fun and creative with it. With personal, there's obviously, you're tying that to your personal brand that we talked about a minute ago. And with descriptive, there's typically some SEO benefit to including keywords in the domain name. But if you go too heavy on the descriptive and the sort of SEO focused, it can actually detract from your brand, because it seems like you're just trying to game the search engines, and this isn't something that you're building because you really care about it necessarily. There are some examples where that's been able to work, but I would kind of recommend finding a hybrid or staying away from going purely SEO oriented if you're really trying to build this into a brand and something that people are going to remember and trust. So a couple of recommended registrars would be somebody like GoDaddy.com or Namecheap. Those are both good options for registering a domain name. For web hosting, You can get a pretty inexpensive plan, and I certainly recommend paying for web hosting. It's really pretty inexpensive. It can range anywhere from $3 a month to $10 a month. It goes up from there, but those are kind of the low ends. If you go with the least expensive option, usually you can just host one website on it, and there are probably going to be some other limitations. If you go for the next level up, you're going to be able to host multiple domains on your web host. So that can be good if you're building out multiple different websites or think you might. And you can typically upgrade to a higher level plan if you need to with no issue. So if you're just starting out to build one website, you can go with the cheapest hosting and then go up from there. So some recommended hosts would be somebody like HostGator.com, Bluehost. I don't typically recommend GoDaddy for web hosting just because for some reason with WordPress it tends to run really slowly. So I don't usually recommend them to people who are wanting to run a blog on their website. So then step 3 is to go ahead and create your blog. So really what you want to do is use WordPress, and this is the self-hosted version of WordPress, not WordPress.com. So if you are very technical and want to do it yourself, you can download it from wordpress.org and then upload it. But most of the web hosts and all the ones that I mentioned in the last screen have quick install processes where you can upload WordPress onto your domain name in a matter of seconds. It's really easy to do. It doesn't require being technical. So that's the best way to go, is to just tell them that you want to install WordPress, and they can walk you through the process of how to do that, and it just takes a minute. And it's free, so that's another great reason to use WordPress as your platform. And then the next step is you want to get a unique theme. There are a lot of great free WordPress themes out there, so if you don't have a lot of money to spend, you can certainly look around for free themes. However, be aware that because it's free, your website is probably going to look like hundreds of other people's out there, if not thousands of other people. So the other way you can go is to buy what's called a premium WordPress theme. And these range anywhere from $30 to $100 or $150. But there are going to be way less people that have the same theme as you. They typically come with a lot of features and usability stuff built into it to make it easier to make a really nice looking website. So some of the options for that would be Elegant Themes, Woo Themes, Studio Press, which is created by the people who run Copyblogger. Theme Forest is another one that's not listed on here. So those are all good options to go, and you can find really reasonably priced website or themes for WordPress that are going to make your site look great. And finally, step 4 is to build a mailing list from the start. This is one of the things that so many affiliates don't do because it costs a little bit of money and they aren't confident that they're going to be able to get people to opt into their mailing list, and it causes them to leave a lot of money on the table in the long run. So you want to give people a way to subscribe to your website, for you to be able to reach out and contact them when you have news or you want to promote products. Email works so much better than hoping that people are going to see a particular blog post that you put up, or posting on Facebook or Twitter where it can get lost in the stream of all the social media stuff people have going on. So you want to build a mailing list as quickly as you can because, as the old saying goes, the money is in the list. That's where you're going to be able to really effectively and easily communicate with people from your platform. So some of the options for mailing providers are Aweber, GetResponse, and iContact. Typically these are pretty inexpensive. The starter level is usually under $20 a month. Aweber I know does a $1 trial for the first month, so you can get it going and try it out and start building your list, and it's a really inexpensive way to do it. So, all in between a domain, a couple months of web hosting, and getting an email provider, you're going to be somewhere in the range of $50 to $100 most likely. So for getting a business, and especially a long-term business setup, that's really, really inexpensive. So that's it for this video. In the next video, we're going to talk about how to start growing your audience. So I will see you there.